Well, Joe News is this afternoon learning of the passing of Ghana's former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings. Sources say she was rushed to the emergency unit of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, known popularly as the Ridge Hospital, which is just across the street from the former First Lady's residence. Now, she had been in critical condition following a short illness. We can now go live to a residence where my colleague Fatal Bayaga is reporting of increased activities. And
okay, guys, now former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings wakan chinegu and I say we frame at the age of 76 years. Now, what actually led to her passing? There is full report from Joy News. Me pese kukuti the full report. What actually happened to the passing of our former First Lady, the wife of former President Jerry John Rawlings, and so let's join the Joy News team now move for reports as to whether as to what actually happened to her passing. Joining them.
Fatal, what can you report from where you are? What are you hearing about the passing of the former First Lady? All right, we'll work the connection and get Fatal live from the residence of the late former First Lady in a bit, but we can go to Parliament, Emefa.
Of course, we shall take you live to Parliament, where my colleague Kweku Asante is on standby and will be interacting with some of the members of Parliament. Kweku, if you can hear me, surely they have heard about the news. What have they been saying?
It was just around 11 that we started getting chatters from the corridors of Parliament as to the passing of the former First Lady, Nana Agyemang Rawlings, and the members of Parliament about hold a press conference on a different matter, but a lot of them talking to us about this very tragic incident. They have not gone on the record yet, but telling us about how they learned this news. Nana Agyemang Rawlings, a towering figure in politics, a long-time member of the PNDC, that turned to be the NDC, and ultimately breaking away to form her own party, the NDP, where she remained and belonged until her death this morning. This morning, when I just entered Parliament, there were a lot of chatters among members of Parliament who were in the coffee shop who were telling me about what they had heard about her having been rushed to the Ridge Hospital and ultimately having lost her life. And that confirmation was difficult in coming. We were making calls, trying to speak to people that were very close to the family to get an understanding of what exactly may have happened. And ultimately we got the confirmation about a very tragic incident that Nana Agyemang Rawlings had passed. We understand the majority that has a member, as their member, Zaneto Agyemang Rawlings, the daughter of the former First Lady. They are very much struck by this because the NDC have a very strong affiliation to the former First Lady. She was a long-time member of their party, the First Movement, which was such a key plank in the NDC's antecedent, the PNDC, which ultimately came under. So a couple of issues have come up in Parliament. Behind me, you see colleagues of the NPP side who are about to hold a press conference on a different matter, particularly having to do with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the endorsement of him. Those are all separate now, and a couple of some MP I was talking to recently told me about how they because of the tragic incident they wanted to cancel this event, but because they had made organization, people have come from far, and that is why they are still going ahead with the news conference on those related matters. And Nana Agyemang Rawlings also had such a close relationship with the New Patriotic Party, especially after she broke away from the NDC. She had such a strong relationship with the former President Nana Akufo-Addo. You saw her at a lot of state events together with them. In fact, the former President Rawlings, prior to his passing, also had quite a good relationship with the New Patriotic Party. So they themselves telling me that they've quite been struck by this message. But also, you will recall that recently in Parliament there was a big matter having to do with some MP on the majority side calling the former President Rawlings a murderer. And that became such a big issue because there are those who felt like because of the very good relationship that Nana Agyemang Rawlings enjoys with the New Patriotic Party, it was such a terrible thing to say. But all those things have been swept under the carpet now. Members of Parliament are expected to unite in this. Because of this, we expect that sitting of Parliament may delay for a while, because Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings was not just the wife of a former president. She's such a towering figure in Ghanaian politics, very close relation with the Speaker himself, who is currently outside the country. And we understand the leadership of Parliament on both sides may go to the house of the former First Lady, together with some leadership of the parliamentary service at Rage, where she was proud to being rushed to the hospital this morning, where she had an emergency. So, Daryl and MFA, that is the situation in Parliament. Really somber mode here since the news broke out before midday. So many people really distraught about the passing of Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, who has gone to meet her maker at 76 years.
Right, thank you so much, Kweku. But away from Parliament, we shall now take you to the residence of the, now we can say, late former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings. And Kweku, you want to stay with us right there in Parliament and bring us update from there. But Fatal, if you can hear me, quickly report from her residence.
Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings. And this afternoon, as we got here, a number of vehicles began to troop to this particular area. We are unable to confirm as to who were those people who came here, but I have counted about 6 vehicles coming to this particular place. And as I speak with you, some other vehicles are entering the house at this moment. We've tried to speak with some of the people here to confirm to us as to whether this is true. They were tight-lipped as far as this particular issue is concerned. But as I speak with you, a number of people are still coming here following this very issue. But let me just paint a picture to you. Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings is a very popular political figure here in this country. You remember, she setting up the 31st, December Women's Movement. She's the president, I must say, and then also the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Party. She played a very critical role in Ghana's political space, participating in almost everything. I mean, we've seen her in the public, space for some time. At the Jubilee House during the funeral of the 8 who lost their lives during that helicopter crash. We saw her there laying some flowers. Apart from that, we saw her in Kumasi as well. But today we're picking up information that she has passed, and there was some activity here. But as I speak with you, some of the individuals who have come have left, but some other people are still coming here following this very tragic situation. But we were told that this happened today, this dawn, that she was taken to the Rich Hospital, where she unfortunately lost her life allegedly. We are yet to get the confirmation. So Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, she is very, very important, also was very important in Ghana's political space, doing so many other things and contributing to Ghana's political space. So this afternoon, some people are still coming here, but we do not have a confirmation as to whether we do not have a confirmation as to whether she has passed, but we're seeing a number of people coming here. I've seen about 3 V8. I've counted about 3 V8 entering the house. There are a number of security personnel here too. Some military officers are here manning the entrance of Rawlings's house. We spoke to them. They did not want to say anything in relation to this, except to say that, in fact, we asked them questions in relation to this, but they wouldn't say anything, but said that, they are yet to also get a confirmation as far as this issue is concerned. But we're here still manning, or we are stationed here to know what exactly is happening in relation to this. Some dignitaries are trooping to this particular place at the moment, but now it's a bit calm now. It's a bit calm now. Some other people who have come here have also left, but it's been a very tragic day, I must say, as far as this issue is concerned. Let me just give you a bit of information.
How life was there at the residence of late former First Lady. And as you can see, there seems to be some activity going on there.
Okay.
He mentions that some vehicles, albeit it's unusual, right? To see vehicles going in and out.
But
So
not
it tells
very
you that
unusual that security personnel will not answer
disclose.
questions.
But obviously, there's something going on, something not right, and that's the news we are.
Daryl, is interesting because it's quite close to the Ridge Hospital, and then we're going to be learning or finding out from Fatal because he'll be able to go to the Ridge Hospital.
The Ridge Hospital
bring
too.
us some information as well from that place. But one of the things we may later confirm would be whether the vehicles that have come in and out are allowed to go inside the premises.
The premises
building, of course. Because when a news break like that, of course, people who are driving around can take detours around. But what would matter is whether they have an access into the main house. Or I saw her at the dossier, just some.
Very devastating. I mean, nothing prepares you for news like this, right? As you mentioned, she was recently at the dossier, the funeral of the late Asante Hema. We also saw her when we buried the what we call the gallant aid, the people, the officials who lost their lives in that tragic helicopter crash. And it's so unbelievable to hear that she has passed away. I mean, nothing prepared us for this news, but that is information we're receiving at this point. And guys, bear with us. Usually during circumstances like this, you want to wait for the official confirmation, but obviously news goes out. And so like Kweku Asante pointed out, there's already chatter in Parliament about her passing away. And like he also pointed out, the MPs currently discussing a visit to the residence of the late former First Lady. But like he also says, she's made an impact in politics and in society as well. You can't begin to talk about the NDC, PNDC era, her association with the late former President Jerry John Rawlings and their contribution to democracy here in the country. I'm sure we'll be hearing so much from historians and people who have followed them closely. But this is the devastating news. This Thursday afternoon, we lost a former First Lady, a towering figure at that, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings MFR.
Definitely. Do you want to stay with us? Because we shall definitely be taking you back to her residence. We shall as well take you back to Parliament. And of course, if you did stay with us, we shall take you maybe back to the Jubilee House, where we're learning that some family members of the late former First Lady have made their way to the Jubilee House. Maxwell is there for us, and when we can, we shall bring you all of that as well. But we're talking about...
Yeah, I was just saying, we're just showing you her residence right now and the activity going on. Earlier, there was increased activity. I'm sure at the time when the news broke, there were vehicles trooping into the residence. We're keeping our eyes on there. Fatal was telling us that a number of people have been to the residence. He can't really tell who was there, but we are keeping our eyes there for you. So we want to go back to Parliament. Our parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante, is there for us as we talk a bit about her impact in politics.
Well, Kweku, if you can hear me, have you picked up anything as well from individuals in Parliament? And then we can go on as well talk about her political career. I mean, I will take it back to 2011 when she was hoping to be the flag bearer of the NDC. But Kweku, if you can hear me, bring me some updates if you engage with some of the members of Parliament in Parliament.
And in fact, in her very heydays as a very serious politician, she formed the NDP and she wanted to sponsor candidates to come to Parliament on the umbrella ticket of the National Democratic Party that she founded. And until her death, she did not vacillate in terms of leaving that political tradition behind. She stayed true to that because she believed ultimately that she had broken out with the now governing NDC. And as we know now, the family are going to go and inform the president or the presidency of the passing of Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings. And ultimately, we expect that this perhaps will be a state burial. One MPP MP just telling me now that there is no two ways about that, that when it comes to Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, there ought to be a state burial. And so we're going to get details on that pretty shortly. The minority holding a news conference just behind me on a couple of issues. As soon as you're done, we're going to go and speak to a lot of them. But because they held a very, very close relationship with Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings prior to, or in fact, after her breaking up with the National Democratic Congress and going on to form her own political party, there are a lot of people behind me who say they are devastated by her loss. And she stood out for quite something profound. She was the first lady of the Fourth Republic, having served as first lady for at least 11 years under Jerry John Rawlings, when Jerry John Rawlings was the leader of the PNDC, prior to the transitioning to democracy and forming a new political party, the NDC, that ultimately won the 2020 for the 1992 election, I should say. And we'll get some members of parliament and get some understanding of what they make of this very tragic incident that has just befallen the country this morning. A lot of things being getting to know that Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings had been rushed to the hospital. She was unwell, and then suddenly she has lost her life. It's a big tragic news. In fact, as soon as I entered the coffee shop, a few MPs who had arrived at the time were distraught. They were shocked that this is something that had just happened that morning, and a lot of them hoping that was going to be false. In fact, at the time they told me that, and I relayed that to the news team, there were so many of them who were not willing to go to the record in terms of what they were able to learn, because they thought this was all a hoax and that ultimately she was unwell. Because in fact, there are those who are telling me now that their record that she hasn't been very well has been very known to them, and they knew that she wasn't very well. And so having heard that she had been rushed to the hospital, they expected that some good news would come out of it. There have been a couple of events in Parliament, in particular since the start of this year, and she is in Parliament. Whenever the budget is read, if anybody is not there, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings will be there. When the president comes to present the State of the Nation address, she is there. Every ceremonial event, and she will be there because the former President Rawlings is not there. She represents the family, she represents the former family very well. She also had a daughter who serves in Parliament, Senator Agyemang Rawlings, who's been serving for quite some time now, the MP for Korle Klottey. So she has such a unique tie to Parliament, although she herself never did anything in terms of elective politics. Prior to 1992, for a long time, she was head of the 31st December movement. The husband was elected president, transitioning from military rule, became first lady up until she contested for president in the 2008 election when she broke out. This is something that if you can speak to a couple of New Patriotic Party MPs.
Okay, it was afraid to say the mornings with regards to this particular news. Now, the ABCB unsubscribe and subscribe for me. Let's answer.